We're back here on CBS Sports HQ, where this weekend in the NFL, we will see the Seahawks and Rams, two teams who are tied right now for the best record in the NFC, go head-to-head. Both sitting at 7-2 on the season as you take a look at the current NFC playoff picture as it stands right now. For much more on the seasons both the Seahawks and Rams are having and really what's at stake this weekend, let's go ahead and say hello to our own Ryan Wilson. Ryan, great to see you. We just showed you a look at the current playoff picture. In your opinion, who has the inside track to have the #1 seed in the NFC?
Hey, Jordan, good to see you. It's hard to bet against the Los Angeles Rams and the way they're playing, but I am gobsmacked, if I can use that word, with what the Seattle Seahawks have been able to do, primarily because of what we've seen from Sam Darnold, of course, coming over year one after playing so well last year for Minnesota, but also because what Mike McDonald, in year two has done to transform this defense. This isn't quite the Legion of Boom in terms of the way they play, but they get after it, especially up front with the front seven. And then on the other side of the ball, we talk about Sam Darnold being in that MVP conversation with some guy named Matthew Stafford. Jackson Smith-Njigba is right there. He has a chance to break the record from Megatron Calvin Johnson of getting more than 2,000 yards. He's already halfway there in terms of receiving yards, and that's been fun to watch as well. So I lean towards Seattle. They have a few better, bigger wins, even though these teams have the same record. But this is going to be a huge matchup, and it's going to be a knockdown, drag out in terms of who's going to win this thing.
Did you say gobsmacked? That's a new one. Is that what it was? I've not heard that term before, but I love it. I'm all here for it. As you mentioned, could be a massive swing game. Looking at the matchup, though, in particular, both quarterbacks have been so fun to watch this season. Let's go ahead and start with Matthew Stafford, who's playing at an MVP-type level right now. What do you make of the season he's having so far, and what chance do you actually give him at winning MVP? He sits right now slightly behind Drake May as the second favorite.
Yeah, Drake May feels like his only competition. I mentioned Sam Darnold. If Sam Darnold balls out in this game and outplays Stafford, we can have that conversation. But for now, the things that Matthew Stafford is doing at age 37, after we spent much of the summer and especially most of August wondering if he was going to even play because of the back injury, and now he's thrown 4 more touchdowns, 0 interceptions in 3 straight games. And that is amazing at whatever level you are, whether it's Pee Wee all the way through the NFL, especially at this age. We know about his playmakers, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams. They get their tight ends involved. The running game is on point. Sean McVay feels like he's in his bag in terms of dialing up plays. It has been so incredibly fun to watch. And also, people can't get home. Like, you can pressure Matthew Stafford and affect him a little bit, but I think that holds for any quarterback. But for the most part, he has been so incredibly efficient and playing at such a high level that he has raised the play around him. One of the funny things that I like to think about, because I have a lot of time on my hands, Jordan, if we went back 5 or 6 years and said, hey, there's going to be a marquee matchup in Week 11 against Sam Darnold, who's playing out of his mind, and Matthew Stafford for the Rams and the Seahawks, you couldn't imagine what would have to have happened to get us to this point. But here we are, and I'm all here for it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm so glad you referenced how the season really started for him with the injuries and people thinking that maybe this was his last go-around. And look where we are now. Now let's get to Sam Darnold. Bounce around, of course, in his career, landed with the Seahawks, now really proving that last season was not a fluke. Looking back on his journey, what's impressed you most?
Just the resolve. I mean, it wasn't that long ago where everyone was making fun of Sam Darnold for saying he was seeing ghosts in one of those primetime games where he just could not quit getting sacked and making head-scratching decisions. The thing is, when you talk to NFL quarterbacks, a lot of them have those sort of instances in the game because everything's moving so fast. Sam Darnold just said the quiet part out loud, and it was held against him until it turns out he wasn't necessarily the problem. He landed in a situation last year where Kevin O'Connell has a great track record with developing quarterbacks, and that's exactly what happened with Sam Darnold. That team won 13 games and went to the playoffs. And this year, the Vikings moved on because they had their quarterback in J.J. McCarthy, and that was a great present for the Seattle Seahawks. They traded Geno Smith for a third-round pick, and it was hit or miss. We didn't know how this was going to work out because Geno had been pretty good in Seattle. This is a huge upgrade at quarterback. Clint Kubiak, the coordinator, is doing all the right things to help Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's doing his part. He's one of the best deep ball passers in the league after some guy named Drake May that we can't quit talking about, even though this isn't a segment about the Patriots. But this has been a huge development in terms of reinforcing the idea, Jordan, that sometimes oftentimes fit matters. It's not always a young quarterback that fails. A lot of times it's the team that fails that young quarterback when they decide to move on from him.
That's a great way to put it. Now, one of Darnold's top weapons, you mentioned it just a minute ago, Jackson Smith-Njigba is on pace to break Calvin Johnson's receiving record. Do you think he does it?
I hope so. It's been so fun watching him because, again, Calvin Johnson was a top 5 pick going back almost 20 years now. I think he was 2008, and then Matthew Stafford was 2009, if I recall correctly, for the Lions. But here's the thing. 2 years ago, Jackson Smith-Njigba was the 20th overall pick and one of the first of 4 straight wide receivers taken in that draft class of Quentin Johnson, Zay Flowers, and Jordan Addison. If you went back and redrafted that group, I think JSN is a top 5 pick, and it may not even be close. Bijan Robinson went 8th overall, and maybe you can have that conversation. But he has been so impactful. And unlike other Ohio State wide receivers who's come out in recent years, whether you're talking about Garrett Wilson or Marvin Harrison Jr., Jackson Smith-Njigba was considered, quote-unquote, undersized and played primarily in the slot, where he did great things last year. This year, he's playing primarily outside, and he is absolutely unstoppable. I talked about the deep ball success that Sam Darnold has had. Obviously, Jackson Smith-Njigba has a lot to do with that. They have Cooper Kupp, and he has a revenge game here against his former team. They traded for Rashid Shaheed, who's going to be a threat on the outside as well. And they use all these tight ends incredibly well also. But I think it all starts with JSN and Sam Darnold's ability to give him the ball. And I hope he does break it because I think he deserves it given the way he's played so far.
Me too. You saw the number, 1,964 receiving yards. He is projected right now to beat that by 2. We'll see. Let's get a game pick from you. Rams enter as a slight host favorite at 3. Who you got?
I'm going to lean with the Seahawks, and that could be dangerous territory. The concern with Sam Darnold is that he turns into a pumpkin sometimes. We saw that in the playoffs last year after that that great season with Minnesota in the regular season. I'm going to, fingers crossed, say Sam Darnold gets it done, in part because he can lean on that defense. I mean, Matthew Stafford and the way that offense has played has been great, and their defense has been good as well. I think it's going to be a really close matchup, and I think it comes down to a field goal. But I'll give the slight edge to the Seahawks. All
right, sounds good to me. Ryan Wilson, always great to have you here on CBS Sports HQ, breaking down a big one this upcoming weekend and the NFC. You can get a recap from that game and all of the games going on this weekend in the NFL on Game Day Recap every Sunday night, 8:20 Eastern Time, right here on CBS Sports HQ.